Grab a seat. Look, as you're gearing up to launch your first business, I really want to cut through all that viral, quote unquote, AI gold rush hype you're seeing everywhere online. For the next few minutes, just consider me your mentor. We're going to dive into an explainer on what actually builds sustainable wealth using artificial intelligence. We are tossing out those flashy shortcuts and focusing entirely on creating a reliable, fully automated system. Sound good? Let's get into it. Okay, let's start right off with this core philosophy straight from our sources. It perfectly captures why, frankly, 99% of people completely fail to make real money with AI. They get caught up building these cool little parlor tricks, right? Things that need constant manual tweaking. But here's the secret. Goals don't make you rich. Self-running systems do. Your objective here isn't to just play around with AI. It's to build a rock-solid business asset, something that operates flawlessly whether you're sitting at your desk or, fast asleep. Now, I need you to internalize a bit of a harsh truth. The internet is constantly yelling at you to build these flashy AI-powered novelties just to impress people. But here is the reality check. If a real human being wouldn't pull out their credit card to pay for the underlying result, just sprinkling a little AI on top won't magically save it. A lot of early developers just plaster AI over everything. But guess what? Users absolutely do not care about which language model you're using. They care about outcomes, less time wasted, fewer mistakes, and way faster decisions. That's the stuff they actually pay for. So the absolutely crucial takeaway here is that professionals will happily pay you cold hard cash to save them just 30 minutes a day. What they won't pay for is some vague, theoretical potential upside. And this means the real money, it's hiding in the boring stuff. Back office tasks, industry-specific workflows, niche data processing. It is not in those shiny new creator tools. Boring niches have actual budgets and they have urgency. Time saved converts directly into money. And time is concrete, whereas hype is just hype. All right, before we actually start building the business itself, you've got to have the right internal structure. Our sources refer to this as the wealth triangle. First up, skill. You really don't have to be a world-class expert here. Just learn one simple micro skill. Maybe that's optimizing LinkedIn profiles or writing killer cold emails. And then let AI amplify your output tenfold. Second is systems. Look, motivation fades, we all know that. But a solid system, that runs consistently. And third, scale. This is where those systematic, everyday efforts finally turn into that massive exponential growth we're looking for. And this perfectly illustrates what I like to call the snowball system. Think of your new business exactly like rolling a giant snowball down a steep hill. Man, it is incredibly hard to push at first. You're doing all the heavy lifting. But once you set up the right automation, it catches an edge. It starts rolling, and suddenly it's growing entirely on its own, picking up speed faster and faster. Our main goal today is simply to get your snowball past that brutal initial push. So, now that your foundation is rock solid, let's look at the acquisition machine. To actually succeed in getting clients, you don't need a telescope to shout at massive random crowds. No, you need a microscope to zero in on your exact buyers. And here is your 3-step blueprint to basically stop planning and finally start doing. So many beginners freeze up when they see this ocean of data and tools out there. It's that dreaded analysis paralysis, right? Where you spend weeks mapping things out and literally 0 days executing. Well, this straightforward 3-step engine cures that completely. We're going to find your buyers with Apollo, we'll personalize the outreach using Clay, and then we'll follow up relentlessly with Moosend. Let's break down how this actually looks in practice, starting right with your engine, apollo.io. Instead of just guessing or, posting randomly on social media and praying someone sees it, Apollo lets you target exactly who you need. You can literally just tell it, hey, find me bosses of finance companies in New York that have under 500 workers. And boom, instantly you pull up hundreds of contacts who actually fit what you're selling. You finally stop shouting at the crowd and start whispering directly to the exact right person. Now, what is absolutely crucial about this next step is how Clay prevents you from sounding like some spammy robot. Once you grab your list from Apollo, Clay steps in as your human layer. It doesn't just find their valid email addresses. It actually scrapes their job history and pulls their recent social media posts. It does all that deep research for you, so you can casually mention a recent award they won right in your opening pitch. You're planting a little seed of trust from day one because, hey, it shows you actually did your homework. Look, once you've used Apollo and Clay to grab a lead's attention, there is one single metric that changes everything. Are you ready? If you reply to a lead within 5 minutes of them showing interest, you are 100 times more likely to reach them. Just let that sink in for a second. 100 times. In your new business, speed isn't just nice to have, it is literally the ultimate competitive advantage. On the flip side, if you wait just 30 minutes to reply, honestly, they're effectively gone. They've clicked away, lost interest, or probably found a competitor who is faster. This gap right here is exactly where the vast majority of companies completely hemorrhage their revenue. They simply do not respond fast enough. But because we're building a self-sustaining system, you're going to leverage this golden 5-minute rule to close sales super efficiently and without having to babysit your inbox all day long. To guarantee you actually hit that 5-minute window every single time, we bring in Moosend. Moosend acts as your tireless 24/7 digital salesperson. Statistics actually show most people need about 6 to 8 touches, like an email or a quick message, before they'll ever reply. Moosend automates that entire sequence for you. And even better, it tracks who actually opens your emails and who ignores them completely. Which means you are only spending your precious human energy talking to the people who actually want to hear from you. Okay, so once they're warmed up and ready to chat, please, whatever you do, do not kill the vibe with manual scheduling. You know the drill. What time works for you? No, I'm busy then. How about Thursday? That constant back and forth creates so much friction, and every single extra step is just another chance for the customer to bail. Instead, just drop a Calendly link. One link, they pick a time, it instantly syncs with your calendar, and you're never double booked. It removes all the friction and makes sure the deal doesn't fall apart at the very last second. Next, as those meetings start rolling in, you've got to look professional. Do not rely on chaotic, messy spreadsheets where data just gets lost in the void. Instead, track every single lead and monitor exactly who is ready to buy using Airtable. It gives you this beautiful structure without being overly complicated. And when you do finally pitch them, use a tool like Gamma to whip up polished, highly visual presentations in minutes. Remember, humans remember 65% of what we see, but only 15% of what we read. You got to look the part. Finally, we have reached the summit. Listen, if you manage Apollo, Clay, Moosend, Calendly, and Airtable all manually by clicking back and forth all day, well, congratulations, you've just bought yourself a highly stressful, full-time job. But we're not here to do that. We're here to build a real business. So let's tie it all together into what our sources call the lazy way. This is true, self-sustaining automation, where the apps literally pass the work along to each other automatically. By using connection tools like Zapier or NNN, you can watch a single action cascade flawlessly through your entire system. Imagine this. At minute 0, a customer buys your service via Stripe. Boom. Minute 1, Zapier automatically triggers your email software to shoot over a nice welcome packet. Minute 2, that customer's data is perfectly formatted and dropped right into Airtable. Minute 3, your phone pings with a Slack notification celebrating the sale. And the best part? All of this happens while you sleep. Your human hands didn't have to touch a single thing. So my friend, that wraps up our explainer on how you actually build sustainable wealth with AI. It is not about flashy gimmicks. It is all about identifying a boring, highly valuable niche, setting up a rock-solid acquisition machine, and automating all the friction right out of the picture. You literally have the blueprint in your hands right now. So, I'll leave you with this. Are you finally ready to stop planning and start building your snowball?